Welcome back to our question and answer session with Dr. Henning Saupe from the Arcadia Clinic in Kassel. We had stunning feedback, and I had, besides all those comments underneath, endless amount of emails. And I would really ask you, don't send me emails. You know, this makes my life even more difficult. There is no problem in writing your questions underneath, because it will make it a lot easier for everyone else to learn about and to hear your story and then to see the answers. Okay? So write them underneath and don't write to me. Okay. Second thing, we have now so many questions that we need to pull them a little bit together. The last interview was already 2 hours, and we have done, I think, only 28 or 30 questions. And now we have 108 left, which means we need to speed up. So we've pulled a few together, and if we talk PSI and prostate and everything, we'll pull that together, and then you need to take your answer out of that whole thing so that we get through. All right? Now let's get started. Hello Henning, how are you? And I'm really excited to have you back today.
Hello Marcus, I'm excited too.
Yeah, yesterday I realized, we've taken you so long away from your patients that it was a bit, that you had to have a day off. But today we're going to go through as fast as we can to really make it worthwhile.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Now, before we get started, I had a number of questions underneath which all talk about the problem, what causes cancer? What are the main contributing factors to cancer? Can you give us a little bit of your insights?
Yes, thank you very much for this major important question. My experience is that the number one reason for cancer in our part of the world, in the Western developed world, is poor eating habits and too much stress. Stress is a core issue in the management of chronic disease, including cancer, and it's acknowledged by the World Health Organization that stress is the number one reason for disease in general in the Western developed world. So listen, stress is the number one reason for disease in the developed part of the world.
Can we just define what kind of stress? Because I think there is a healthy stress and there is an unhealthy stress.
Exactly. Stress in this way of number one reason for disease in the Western world is the state of being on the limits of what your brain, what your sensory system can manage to work with. If you have too much input every day and the time for recovery and your possibilities to look for a solution for all the challenges and tasks that your life give you, if this is too limited, if you don't have the time to mentally process and digest all your impressions and all the tasks that life gives you, then you are in a biological status of stress. It is something that is deep incorporated in our behavior, and it comes from old times where we were cave men and living a very simple life, and where threats in our everyday life appeared in the form of wild animals that were threatening us, or shortage in our food, or wild enemies that attacked our family. And in this situation, 50,000 years ago, stress was a very beneficial reaction. It caused an excretion of stress hormones to make us strong for the fight that should last an hour but not longer. And this situation of maximum activation that comes from ancient times, that makes us strong for 1 hour with a lot of adrenaline in our veins, that raise our blood sugar and does everything that helps us to have strong muscles to fight physically. This reaction is still the underlying reason for stress and stress behavior and stress physiology. But the difference in modern time is that we don't solve our problems anymore with muscular strength. So we still have this ancient reflex in our body that is more than 50,000 years old, but we can't solve our problems by fighting with muscular strength. So stress is a situation, a biochemical situation that wants us to make strong for a physical fight, and it lasts for a too long period of time. If your boss comes into your office and puts another 20 letters on your desk that you have to answer, and the time is too limited, you react in the same way as the caveman reacted when the wild animal appeared in front of the cave. But you can't run away from your boss, and you can't solve the problem by hitting on the letters. So you are in an inner conflict. So stress is the lack of time and possibilities to solve the problems that your life puts on your desk.
Yeah, and I think we can really clarify. It's the spiritual stress, living up to expectations. It's the relationship stress with a nagging wife or husband or children or parents or anything. It's financial stress. It's the physical stress after a diagnosis. It's the mental stress of not being clever enough and trying to achieve. Then we have the social stress with all our peers and what kind of dress and what kind of how we need the new car and we need to be equal to everybody else. And then we have vocation and work stress.
Yes. And it is, you can break it down to a very principal reaction that I'm not good enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not powerful enough. And this is eventually it reminds us to a status of inner trance. We are like in hypnosis with these negative thoughts that I'm not good enough, I'm not effective enough, I should be doing more and better and more effectively. And this paralyzes our brain. It does not come to awareness all the time, and this makes it even more dangerous. I'm in this constant hypnosis of I'm not good enough. And then I try to escape. I try to work faster. I try to answer more letters and more emails, but it doesn't help. The more emails I answer, the more I get on my desk. So I'm in a vicious circle.
I know that one.
Yeah, me too. And my biology reacts with excretion of even more stress hormones. And this is really
cortisol.
the vicious cortisol, adrenaline, and what does these hormones do? They try to make us physically strong, but it only works for an hour or two, and then we get weaker. So then we try to compensate our stress with more caffeine, with more cigarettes, with more alcohol, but it doesn't help. The vicious circle gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It deteriorates our sleeping habits. It makes our digestive system very weak and poor. We don't digest properly what we eat, and the vicious circle goes down and breaks down our health. This vicious circle, in short words, is the number one reason for being unhealthy in modern time.
Yeah.
So relaxation and becoming aware of unhealthy thinking patterns is of enormous importance.
Yeah, and that's actually what we've tackled at the EQ Academy. We really go into all the stress pattern, all the fear pattern, to dissolve them, to really get rid of them. And I know you do in the clinic quite a lot of psychology and training with patients to get them to a different viewpoint of life.
Exactly. And it starts with becoming more aware of the situation. Most patients I talk to in the first or second conversation are totally unaware of their stress. They sit in the chair opposite to me and tell me, I'm not stressed, I'm okay, I just have this condition called cancer, could you please remove it, but I'm not stressed. And we have a very smart stress test device. It's called heart rate variation measurement. Heart rate variation is the gold standard for measuring stress, biological stress, through a special ECG that is connected to a computer. So you measure your heart rate for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes, and then the computer does a frequency analysis that helps us to see how the vegetative system is balanced or not balanced. It is measurable through a frequency analysis of your heart rate. And then I can prove the patient, well, you are super stressed. Your heart rate variability is very, very low. That indicates that you are in constant stress. And this is a good beginning to make the stress aware for the patients and to start a conversation about stress management and relaxation. Yeah. And almost everybody who comes to our clinic learns in these 2 or 3 or 4 weeks how to relieve stress and how to breathe more deeply and how to make mental training exercises that helps the patient to get out of this constant hypnosis of I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
We all know what hypnosis is able to do. We've seen it in talk shows and in TV programs. If you are in hypnosis, you do things that you're not aware of. So if you are in the hypnosis of I'm not good enough, I should be doing more and more effectively and faster, you're not aware of your stress. So number one, you have to be aware, to become aware of it. And number two, you have to change your thinking patterns. Yeah. And this is possible. By doing very simple mental training exercises, you can calm down your brain activity, you can lower the amount of stress hormones that your brain excrete, and that has a tremendous impact on your health, on your vitality. Yeah. Imagine that your brain is like an organ that covers your body with stress hormones all the time, while you're not aware of it. It's like being under the shower, and from above it rains stress hormones down to your body, and you're not aware of it. And what does these stress hormones do? They prevent your immune system from detecting and killing cancer. It's proven. I have many studies in my computer that are published about the impact of stress hormones. They literally prevent immune cells from detecting and killing cancer.
Well, so if we look at the psychology, it's actually pretty clear. If I resent myself, if I don't like myself, it's actually a destructive thought about myself, which then is repeated by the body in a self-destructive manner. And that's proven for many times. I've been working with a lot of clients, and I know you do that too. When someone comes to you, they need to write a love letter. They need to write, like their purpose and passion for life and reasons why they want to stay alive. And I really realize that those who complain about life and where life is bad and they're not pretty enough, and I hate being poor and my relationship is bad and I hate my job every day, then that's non-stop affirmation of self-destruction.
Exactly. And 95% of our thinking patterns are not aware. But the good news is we can work with the 5% that we have contact to, that we produce in our front lobe. And these 5% of conscious thinking processes eventually can overcome the negative thinking patterns that are underlying in our 95% unaware thinking. Yeah. So with help of simple mental training exercises, you can change this negative hypnosis into a state of positive affirmation where your thinking processes support your health. And this is something I can recommend strongly to everybody who is interested in a healthy life. You don't have to wait until you have cancer.
Well, life is a dream when you don't have that negative self-talk all the time. When you actually move forward with passion, it's, you can change right now, and everybody can. It's just an attitude issue that you need to adopt.
Yeah. And the breakthrough for myself in the management of stress and negative thinking habits was a meeting with an English hypnotherapist called Colin Tipping. And he became very well known the last years through his books and seminars that he writes and does about radical forgiveness. So in the last years, I got to know Colin Tipping in person and became his student and became a coach in his method. And this is a very brilliant tool that I apply in the treatment of our patients, a step-by-step technique to change negative thinking patterns into positive affirmations by acknowledging that forgiveness is something that helps us to get out of old victim thinking. Yeah. So radical forgiveness is something we apply here as a easy to learn method. It's a step-by-step process that everybody can learn within some days. And it's a brilliant tool to get rid of stress and victim patterns that prevent you from living a lucky life.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I realized more and more, like running around the world and interviewing all the clinics and doctors, and you see that sometimes it's like that we can replace that carburetor and then the car works again. Yeah. Like that. I call it Bob the Builder healing mentality. Or take a little bit of black salva and you put that on and then the tumor is gone. And 5
No.
new ones come somewhere else.
Yeah. If you broadcast the same show all the time that I'm not good enough, cancer will appear again. It is only a symptom. It's not the real cause. As you already said yesterday, and as you write and tell everybody in your seminars and in your movies, you have to find the reason and to remove the reason for the disease. Otherwise, it will relapse all the time.
It's funny, after I've been reading through those questions, I had the feeling that none of those people ever has read my book. Because, you know, like it really, what can I do for this type of disease? And I think that really, we need to go through all the other courses. We're getting sidetracked, but it's like they have 500 names for those 500 types of cancers. And I think they're even more. It's not 500, it's up to 1,000.
Okay.
Now, why do they give all those different names?
Because they're looking for the solution on a reductionistic molecular basis. They believe that the special receptor on a B lymphoma type ABC is the reason for the disease. But it's only a epiphenomenon. It's not the reason. If I'm sad and if I start to weep and tears come out of my eye, I can examine the tear gland and look for the chemicals, and then I can put a blocker on my tear glands that prevent my tear glands from excreting tears. But that's not the solution for my emotion of being sad. So, you know what I want to say with this example? We are looking for molecular changes and try to block them with expensive pharmaceuticals in order to make money. But the reason is what we are talking about since our last interview and what is in your movies and in your book. The reason is poor diet, too much stress, poor sleeping habits, bad thinking patterns, environmental toxins, and maybe to 5% genetical factors, but it's only 5% if we follow the specialists' studies. 95% is epigenetically controlled. That means it has to do with our life, our habits, our toxic load, our food, and our emotions.
Exactly. And all the different names and the types of cancer that they give and that they analyze is actually more or less a means to sell many different pharmaceuticals and drugs which are specifically designed for that type of cell. But when I come back now and I listen to the interviews while editing what we did, it really comes always back to the same treatment. It comes back to supporting the immune system, taking out the toxins, like what you just said, all the different causes. Deficiencies, we supplement. Toxins, we detoxify. Then self-healing mechanism of the body, like fever, can't do it themselves anymore. And I was just uploading the video from you from hypothermia, and you explain it there. The body can't do it. So you do it externally and reteach the body to actually sweat and kill bacteria and cells in the body. So it's actually, we have the cause and we just put the natural means of removing the cause and healing those effects in place, and that is the healing.
Exactly. And let me say some words about energy deficiency in general in patients that are suffering or attracting cancer. Energy deficiency on a cellular level causes normal cells to behave like cancer cells. There are tons of experiments done that prove that fact. If you deprive a cell from getting a normal energy metabolism, the cell switches into a very primitive way of surviving, and this survival mode is called cancer. So that's why we try to give the patient as much biological energy as possible in form of warmth, light, oxygen, food, and air. So
and you do PEMF.
And we do PEMF, exactly.
Which is a very powerful treatment.
Yeah. magnetic pulse therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a massage on the cellular level. Magnetic fields in a frequency of between 100 and 200 hertz recharge our body cells. It's not a treatment for cancer, but it is an energizing treatment for everybody. And if you suffer from cancer and your cell load, your cell charge is very, very low, you can enhance the energy flow in your body by recharging it with pulsating magnetic fields.
Yeah.
And of course, we have incorporated that in our treatments here.
Yeah. And you also
It's
have
a
that
non-specific
device.
treatment. Sorry?
Yeah. And you also have that device where you do that locally where there is cancer, so that you actually activate that area, that the white blood cells and all the healing mechanism can actually work in that area a lot more efficient. Similar to hypothermia.
Exactly. And I mean, 50 years of pharmaceutical research have not given us the miracle drug that solves the cancer problem. That shows that the problem is not on one single receptor or one single molecule. It's a multifactorial problem, and we can even call cancer a meaningful reaction of a body who suffers from energy deficiency. It's meaningful for those cells to survive in that very specific mode called cancer, but it's fatal for the body that eventually will die from this special survival mode of these special cells. So we have to change the environment and not only look at the cell.
Yeah.
I have another example that shows us what the problem is like. If you have a town and the township in this town is very poor, a lot of unemployment, and the garbage is not collected anymore in this part of the town, and it gets poorer and poorer. You will get social problems in this part of the town. So what can you do? You have to reorganize the township. You have to go there with social workers. You have to lower the unemployment. You have to clean up the streets, and then you will get rid of the social problems. But the standard way is more like asking the military to go there and to remove the problem instead of curing it. So the cure of cancer is not only to remove or to poison the cell. The cure of cancer is to restore health in the organism so that the organism does not need to produce cancer cells anymore.
Yeah. It's really fascinating when you look at the other factor, and you mentioned it, our environment not being conducive to our health, and really be challenging to our daily health. We've been collecting here in the beginning of our book, and it's up to page 138. That's only environmental causes of cancer. And you know, it really is so surrounding us that it really is scary. Like for me, it starts with the mattress that we sleep on, and with the formaldehyde or the plastics that fume out on the couch, then the cushions, then the EMF. It's like so many things. And when you have cancer, I think in regards to removing causes, it's not just possible to eat a little bit of green and possibly as much organic as possible. You know, like it's a huge field that needs to be cleaned up and cleared up.
Exactly. And it's always both at the same time. It's toxins, and it's a weak organism that does not handle toxins in the proper way anymore. If you are filled with beautiful thoughts and have good sleep and a good relationship and a meaningful job, you can handle much more toxins than if you are stressed and have a bad situation in your private life. So it's both inner and outer factors. That's why we need the holistic approach. It's not a single reason, it's multifactorial.
Yeah. Now, I would like to mention, you have the third point that you said was sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that's really crucial because a lot of people aren't aware how important sleep is.
Yes. So let's say a word about sleep. It's proven that sleep deficiency causes chronic disease. It brings your immune system down. It causes poor digestion and poor detoxification. There is a study done about breast cancer and with the question, who is attracting more breast cancer in society than others? And the number one risk group for breast cancer are flight attendants. Flight attendants are known to have bad sleeping habits because of the time shift and the time lag. So
plus the radiation.
Yes, plus the radiations in the air. It was very, very obvious that flight attendants have a high risk for breast cancer. Then the second highest risk was women who work on shift work, who have changing shifts, night shift, day shift, night shift, day shift, that causes chaos in your brain and cause immune deficiency and detoxification problems that leads to cancer. And very interesting was the group that had the lowest risk for breast cancer, and that was blind women. Isn't that interesting? If you are blind, you have a very, very low risk to attract cancer. I thought quite a long time about that factor and tried to understand what is blindness. If you have blindness, you have a lot of less impressions and more time for relaxation, and your life is definitely not as stressful as if you have vision. So
I can agree with that. You just need to watch advertising today. You get sick by the flickering images and how fast they go.
Exactly. And if you look at the modern movie, you have so fast changing pictures. These are causing stress. Yeah, you have 10 clips in a second from every different angle, and your brain is in constant stress. Then we have 3D videos now that the images get even deeper in your brain. And if you watch a movie from the 60s, it's almost boring how slow it is. Yeah. So we are used to higher speed, but our biology did not adapt to that speed. And that's again stress. We are in constant stress and we have to get out of it. So go for walks, listen to relaxation music, do yoga exercises, spend time in nature, and slow down your speed. Our high-speed society is cancerogenic.
Cancerogenic. Now, when you have a cancer patient that has sleeping problems, how do you help them to get better sleep?
Well, we have natural remedies that help to change the high-speed mode of your brain. That is like St. John's wort or passiflora, which are excellent herbal drugs to calm down. Valeriana, St. John's wort, and passiflora are available in German pharmacies in mixtures that have synergistic effects, and it's a good starting point. Number two, we tell patients how to slow down the activities in the late afternoon and in the evening. So don't watch meaningless TV shows or don't watch meaningless criminal stories that cause chaos and anxiety in your brain. Stop watching meaningless things on your TV is a very simple but very, very important advice. Do a warm foot bath. It's an excellent way of relaxing. Take lavender oil, some drops of etheric lavender oil in your foot bath and put your feet into a warm bath tube and have a warm foot bath for 10 to 15 minutes while you focus on beautiful thoughts. You can read your favorite book, or you can read some poems, or you can listen to relaxation music and try to actively calm down.
No heavy meals, no lactose after 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I love personally the magnesium massage. It's really like, if I have trouble and I'm one of those mental stressors and thousands of ideas and I couldn't get them finished and I planned to get them all done for today, and then I go to bed and I lay restless. And what we've done now for the past half year, Sabrina and me, we do each other a back massage with magnesium oil. And it's really like, I don't know, there is nothing which I can compare to. It just completely relaxes all muscles and you fall into a deep sleep. Yes, that's true. And of course, we have magnesium oil here at our clinic and it's available for our patients. Yeah. So then we have this magnetic pulse device with a special sleeping mode at a frequency of 4 hertz. We
create a resonance that makes the brain going down, the brain frequency to 4 hertz, which is called theta rhythm, and that helps the patients to calm down and to sleep. We have special light therapy devices that have a calming, soothing effect. We have sound bowl massage. This is a very interesting and beautiful therapy that came from Tibet. And today there are more than 2,000 sound bowl massage therapists in Germany, trained by Peter Hess, who became very well known in Germany about this very special treatment. It's done with these bronze sound bowls that come from India or Tibet, and that have this beautiful sound that probably everybody knows. So you can put these sound bowls on your body and softly, gently wake them to vibrate and create a beautiful sound that you feel in your body. You feel the vibrations and you hear the beautiful sound. And it's a very, very nice way of relaxing and coming down to a sleeping mode of low frequencies in your brain, like 8 hertz for 8 hertz is the frequency of meditation, and then if you go down to 4 hertz, you eventually fall asleep.
Yeah. I had a beautiful interview with Dr. Dean Ornish, and it really said, he said, Marcus, the more I study cancer, the more I get to that place where if I help a person to dissolve stress, if I can help them sort them out their financial issues, if I can help them sort out their relationship, all of a sudden when I take their stressors out of their life, they start healing. So healing is actually really more effective if I help them to live a prosperous, healthy life.
Yes, Dean Ornish mentions this heart rate variability test in his books, and it correlates with survival times of cancer patients. So it's proven. Stress measurable with this heart rate variability test correlates with your prognosis. So the better your heart rate variability is, in other words, the less stress you have, the longer you live. It's proven, so it's only to understand and to incorporate in your life. Try to work actively with stress release. And we have many methods and exercises that we share with our patients, and everybody who is here can take them at home and work with these methods and mental techniques. And it's easy to learn, but you have to do it.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next. And I put about 6 together here on my piece of paper. And they are all to do with what type of treatments are available. And I think this really brings it home. We started before that there are so many different names to all the different cancers. But then you look at the treatments, they're pretty much all very similar or the same. And that's why I think if you just round that off, then we don't need to go into all of those different treatment modalities again.
Exactly. So the core treatment that we provide every day, the patient is at our clinic, is a combination of